Hey guys, I'm your host William with Exploring History. The dawn of the 20th century saw dreams take flight. Among those who soared beyond the limitations of their time was Catherine Chung, a woman born in 1904 in China, who would etch her name into the skies of history. As the aviation age blossomed, Catherine defined social expectations and took to the air in an era when women, especially Chinese women, were expected to remain grounded. We are thrilled to welcome back our returning friend Dr. Brian Barzanti, director of the Southern Museum of Flight here in Birmingham, Alabama, to dive deeper into Catherine's extraordinary journey and her pivotal role in aviation history. Catherine's story is one of courage, determination, and breaking barriers. Her legacy continues to inspire, and it's an honor to explore her incredible achievements today. The dawn of the 20th century was a time of dreams that reached higher than ever before. As the world stood on the brink of the aviation age, one woman would rise from unexpected circumstances to soar beyond the limitations of her time. Her name was Catherine Chung, born in 1904 in Canton, China, a name that would one day be etched into the skies of history. Catherine emigrated to the United States at the tender age of 17, arriving in a land that offered the promise of opportunity but harbored the rigid societal norms of the early 20th century. Most Chinese women were expected to lead quiet, reserved lives, but Catherine was no ordinary woman. Her Chinese name, Sui Fun, meant courage and long life, and she embodied these traits throughout her extraordinary journey. The story of Catherine Chung's passion for aviation took flight in the early 1920s, when her father, who had immigrated to America in 1921, took her to practice driving near Dicer Airfield in Los Angeles. It was there, as she watched the plane soar into the sky, that a spark ignited within her. Catherine found herself captivated by aviation, a fascination that far surpassed the thrill of driving. In an era when the skies were dominated by men, Catherine was not one to let societal expectations clip her wings.
The support of her family was pivotal in lighting a spark and a love for aviation, from her cousin, who will take her up in one of her first flights, who had an aircraft, to her father at the time, who was very supportive at a time when doors weren't open to women in aviation and many other industries.
At a time when women, especially Chinese women, were expected to be silent and submissive, Catherine defied every norm. She left her studies at USC and, with her husband George Young's support, enrolled in the Chinese Aeronautical School in Los Angeles in 1931.
Her enrollment in the Chinese Aeronautical School represented an initial step in her aviation career that was to come, because it gave her a platform to demonstrate her skills and her skill set to a broader audience.
This was the era of the Great Depression, yet Catherine's resolve was unshakable. For $5 an hour, she trained to fly, and within 12.5 hours of flight time, she made her first solo landing. Her journey had begun. In 1932, Catherine Chung became one of the first Chinese women in the United States to earn a pilot's license. At that time, only about 200 licensed pilots in the United States were women, a mere 1% of the total. Catherine had joined a rarefied group, and she wasn't done yet.
Catherine Chung's achievements in breaking down barriers and learning to fly at a time when women weren't encouraged to do so meant a lot. Not only was Catherine a female, she was a Chinese American female, and barriers existed early in aviation across the board to folks who were not white, folks who were not male, and this demonstrated that anyone can do this. When it came to another young woman of Asian descent, seeing Catherine Chung break down barriers at the time. Very crucial in inspiring others to do just the same.
Her talent and audacity quickly made her a popular figure at air shows. She performed thrilling stunts, loop-de-loops, spiral dives, and barrel rolls that left audiences breathless. As her fame grew, Catherine was invited to join the 99s, an international organization of female pilots founded by none other than the iconic Amelia Earhart. For Catherine, this was more than a membership. It was a recognition among the elite aviators of her time.
With regard to Catherine Chung's connections to notable aviators at the time, connections like Charles Lindbergh, connections to Amelia Earhart, and other iconic early aviators, these were important because when it came to the public eye, this would legitimize Catherine Chung's place within the aviation industry. Then in the public's eye, they would view this as rather legitimate, especially at a time when there were many Americans who did not want to see folks as part of these underrepresented communities receive a pilot's license or even learn to fly.
Catherine's journey, however, was not just about personal glory. She faced societal prejudices and financial hardships at every turn. Her dream was to inspire and train future pilots, particularly women, and to establish an aviation school in China.
And this will lay the groundwork for many of those who will break down future barriers, even those to come, other minority groups, other underrepresented groups. We highlight many of those here at the Southern Museum of Flight, for example. And, she's a trailblazer in that sense, laying the groundwork like many of her contemporaries at the time, contemporaries like Amelia Earhart, Bessie Coleman, who will be breaking down barriers in their own respective rights.
She flew alongside legendary pilots such as Charles Lindbergh, Roscoe Turner, and Pancho Barnes, building a legacy that transcended borders.
Catherine Chung's legacy as an aviatrix, as she would have been known, as a stunt pilot, these abilities, contribute and solidify her legacy as an aviator, especially at a time when aviation was so young, it was so exciting. During the interwar years, Americans would turn out at barnstorming events, as they were called, these events that we know today as air shows. And it gave pilots a platform to demonstrate their skill sets.
But the world was changing. In 1937, the Japanese invasion of China compelled Catherine to consider returning to her homeland to aid in the war effort. The Chinese community in California rallied behind her, raising funds to buy an airplane for her to take to China. However, fate had other plans. As she prepared to accept the airplane, her cousin, who had sparked her love for aviation years earlier, tragically crashed while attempting a stunt. Catherine was devastated. This incident, combined with her father's grave illness and his dying wish for her to stop flying, forced her to make a heartbreaking decision.
Coming to a decision such as retiring from an industry that you love dearly at such a young age, there's got to be strength in that decision. Considering the obstacles, considering the challenges, considering what happened to friends and family, and couple that with honoring the request of her father. Pretty remarkable when you think about it today, nearly a century later.
In 1942, after a decade of breaking boundaries and defying the odds, Catherine Chung retired from aviation. Though her direct involvement in flight ceased, her legacy did not. She became a symbol of pride and perseverance, especially within the Chinese American community. Her contributions to aviation continued to inspire, culminating in her induction into the Women in Aviation International Pioneer Hall of Fame in 2001. Catherine Chung passed away in 2003 at the age of 98, but her spirit remains aloft. Recognized by the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum as the first Asian American aviatrix, she paved the way for generations of female pilots. She was a pioneer, a daredevil, and above all, a testament to the unyielding pursuit of one's dreams. Catherine Chung carved her path into history, opening the skies to all who dared to dream.
In reflecting upon Catherine Chung's legacy and its importance and the fact that it's been so enduring, to me, the most enduring component of that legacy is breaking through the societal barriers and norms at the time, daring to do so in the face of so much adversity. To me, that is that lasting legacy, and we try to tell stories such as this, such as Catherine's and others, throughout the museum, throughout our educational programming, so that we can continue to inspire the next generations of those who dare to dream, just as Catherine Chung did back in the earlier part of the 20th century.
Catherine's journey was not only about personal glory, but about challenging the boundaries society placed on women, and her legacy continues to inspire us today. From flying alongside legendary aviators to becoming one of the first Chinese women to earn a pilot license, Catherine's story is a testament to the power of unyielding dreams. She paved the way for generations of aviators. Her legacy lives on in the spirit of every pilot who dares to reach for the skies. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history. If you found Catherine's story as inspiring as we did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the share button for more incredible stories from the past. Until next time, keep dreaming big, and may the skies always be your limit. I'm your host, William, and I can't wait to see you next time when we explore moments that made history.